Welcome to episode 2 of OCD SOUNDSYSTEM. As you can see, we're on Zoom, which will be the regular format for the foreseeable future.
I was thanking our lovely commenters. Really good to just throw something out there and have some loyal fans already rally for it. So you know who you are. Hope you're tuning into episode 2. You probably aren't because the algorithm probably fed it to you because you give a fuck about Noel Gallagher. But maybe soon you'll give a fuck about us.
And maybe you found this video because you give a fuck about Geese or Cameron Winter or both. But this week we are going to be chatting through our thoughts on the album Getting Killed by Geese. Came out September 2025. So last year already. But I don't know how it took this long for me to listen to this album in full. I'd kind of heard one-off like songs, like when Taxes came out as a single. I had listened to it, didn't really care about it, but I liked Cameron Winter's solo album, Heavy Metal. So I guess because I liked that, I was just like, well, I don't want to hear something completely different. But we listened in full and
It got
like,
crazy.
Girl, I'm fucking obsessed. Like, I am genuinely, like, I have not felt this way about a whole album in so long. Like, I'm obsessed with it.
I feel like it really grew on me the first time I listened to it, especially the first track in Trinidad. I was like, oh boy, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And it took a long time for me to motivate myself to come back to it. I also think that for some weird like counter reason, I wanted to not like it just because everybody was like, oh my god, like it's so good, like this is the album, I love pop music and like this is not for me, you know, and just be like, ugh, shitting on it because everybody else loved it.
Even if it took maybe an extra listen, you'd at least partially come around. And 3 listens and
3 listens and listen, I'll get into, you have to wait until the end because I have my takeaways like really wrapped up neatly and tied in a bow. But I think it's an album, just to start, because we're on this idea, I think it's an album that you have to give time to sit with. You have to listen to it more than once, even if it's not immediately speaking to you. And even, this is kind of how I feel about it, but even if there are parts of it and choices that I really think failed or I disagree with, there are moments and there are songs that are true gems, which makes it worth the listen. With that, should we jump in?
Yeah. Well, I think first let's try to like just quickly chat through like where we got genre wise with like categorizing this, because I think it helps kind of, if you happen to not have listened to this album and you're just listening to us talk about it, it is really hard to pin down genre-wise what you're fucking listening to. Like, it is 7, 8 genres, like, kind of cherry-picked and turned into, I got noise rock, like, free jazz, post-punk, blues rock, and, like, our favorite classic garage rock. So I also have like probably 40 million people who popped into my brain as like ooh, this feels like it's a this, like this feels like it's this, which I like and dislike. But genre wise, I loved trying to follow where the fuck I was. It was also kind of like bossa nova-y sometimes, like it was waltzy, like bluesy, fun.
The only genre that I picked up in moments that you didn't mention, well, I said yacht rock at a certain point because there's almost like a, not that this artist is clean yacht rock, but you're going to get what I'm saying. There's Jimmy Buffett on this album for some reason.
I think it's like, at least to me, it's the like hint of like country twang that like exists in yacht rock that feels kind of like intertwined into it in a cool way almost, which like I don't feel about country music in general. But there's kind of like, yeah, I got not yacht rock, but the country of it is kind of where I'm seeing a through line through our thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the country's definitely a through line. My genre pinning basically said sweet spot between alternative folk, rock, blues, and what else did I say? And country.
Yeah. So it's definitely a mixed bag, but I think what's good about it, despite how many genres we kind of touch upon, is that it's not like it's like one song is in this genre, the next one is in that genre. It's like we said, like kind of like a mixing of all of them and like taking certain aspects. And some of the genres I think we mentioned, they're very like nichely intertwined in there. It's not like it screams post-punk all the time, but I don't know. It's such a cool album, and I think we should get into it. Wait, also one more thing. Did you know it was produced by Kenny Beats, like the hip hop producer?
Interesting.
Isn't that like so interesting?
Yeah, that is really interesting because you know what? They really said, let's throw one more genre in there. I also just think sonically and culturally, contrast is what's of most interest. So if your project is something, which I feel this is true of this album, that's aiming to be very textured and be very it just fits through the whole arc and seems like the most straightforward, although I think it's an out of the box idea for sure. It seems like the most straightforward way of going about your out of the box idea, Cameron Winter.
Yes. Like it's not safe, but it is kind of thing. It's like a renowned producer, so you know you're getting like good production, but it is like an interesting, just stylistically interesting choice. But let's get into track one.
Nice.
My son is in bed. My daughters are dead.
Trinidad. Okay. So I opened up this track. The first time I listened to it, I didn't like it. The second time I listened to it, I didn't like it. The third time I listened to it, I started disliking it, and then I started to buy in a little bit. I did like the repeated I try opening to begin with, and I like blues, so I said it feels bluesy. It feels almost like Nina Simone in the vocal, and it's rooted in that melancholic, soulful tone that's attributed to blues. But then, and that's the nice part of it that I enjoy. And then you get hit with the part that makes me dislike this song, which is that it gets so unpleasant and so messy, not production wise. I don't think that the messiness I discuss, which I'll mention multiple times through this album, track by track, it doesn't have to do with production at all. I want to make that clear. It has to do with tactful and choiceful interspersing and overlaying of multiple different instruments that my ears personally find unpleasant. That being said, the soft sax in the background and the gentle percussive flow, that section of the song, which another thing, these songs are split into 72 damn sections for each track. But
completely abandons traditional song structure for like most of them, it feels like.
My end reaction to this, although I really dislike that messy part, is the musicianship leads with the repositioning of the song structure and the messy part in and of itself. And I respect that even if I don't feel sonically moved or nicely wrapped in the choices, because they felt quite harsh to me. And the screaming threw me off too.
Yeah. I will just off the bat say least favorite on the album. Like, certainly my least favorite on the album.
Same.
I think it's an interesting opener because it, as much as it sets the tone of like, you get like the real organic the organic jam quality, it feels like a proper like jam, but like not even necessarily one that's recorded in the same room. It just kind of feels like everyone on their instruments is just kind of fucking jamming, like independently from the other instruments, which
nice.
Feels a little strange, but also I'm into it. His vocals are very whiny on this one. I mean, he kind of like wails and whines throughout the album, but I thought this one, aside from the screaming, was particularly whiny. But I fucking love the end when the drums pick up and the horns enter and it's just very like sound bath noise rock. I thought it was cool, but on the whole, not my favorite.
Agreed. Okay, moving on to what is your favorite.
Baby, you should be ashamed. You should be shame's only daughter.
Right now, honestly, no. Like, I don't know if it's my favorite right now, but it's one of them. Cobra. Immediately.
I have it starred as a favorite too.
Immediately, the chimey waltz just clicks in my brain of like, the percussion's a little like abstract, like it's like clicking and like kind of like almost like clap sounds. But the guitar is like such like sweet and softness, and lyrically it is such a fun, like yearning, adoring song that also is laced with a little bit of like bitter jealousy, but just the kind of jealousy that you hold towards somebody who you almost revere. You should be ashamed. You should be shame's only daughter is insane. Like, it's actually like that. Like, it was when I first like that was like, I'm shame's only daughter.
Girl, me too.
Like, only child, but it's like a celebration, but it's still like candid and like very human, and how your mind almost like gives someone credit for something, but still is like, like, I wish that was me. But I loved it. I love it.
I think that was really comprehensive, and obviously I got excited about a lot of what you said. I think the last bit of what you said is a really interesting feeling, and I'm really sat for your lyrical discussion, because I listened to this album 3 times in full before I liked it, and then I listened to it another 2 times. And my last listen was earlier today, and it started to feel, finally, for the first time I started to process the lyrics. It took me a long time before it really sank with me. This is something that just starts like a coming of age movie in a really nice way, and I felt like a lot of these tracks were very visceral. This has to me the feeling of being a 17. This is every coming of age movie also, but a 17-year-old in the car or on a bike on an autumn day, and you're clueless to the reality of the world, but also boiling up a mix of anxiety and all-knowingness inside at the same time. Sonically, I think that this is what should have been on Wallows' team's vision board after they put out the EP Spring, as well as the Nothing Happens album. That was like, I'm 17, I'm listening to that, I like it, it's indie. This is the dream goal of what that type of feeling could have developed to, and it would have been brilliant. Alas, it did not happen, and their music seems to get weaker by the album, but this is not a podcast about that.
No, but I think this song is one that jumped out at me as like I can for sure see this being a one that's like on so many other artists' playlists of like whatever is happening, kind of magically happening, capturing this very like beautiful, innocent moment with like such candid honesty and earnestness is like, surely that's enviable for some artists, like being able to just it just felt so effortlessly communicated what he's saying without that many words. There aren't like it's, again, like it's not like, I mean, this one's more traditional, I think, in how it's structured than a lot of the other ones, but it's still not like you're getting full narrative exploration in this song, like, but it really paints a story in such a visceral way, which is so cool and almost feels a little bit magical the way that it happens in this song.
I loved the frogginess and the depth of the vocal across this song.
Baby.
Exactly my point. I was about to say Baby is so Elvis.
Yes, it's so Elvis.
It's so Elvis. And that's another callback to classics. Like, there are so many callback to classics, which is where the which is where the musicianship of it comes in. And I think that's also what other artists are picking up on. And it's, like I said at the start, it's a coming of age movie, so it's supremely syncable, which is just like my music business mind is screaming that at me. Specifically, this was, like I tell you, this was one of the most visceral songs on the album for me. And the image I see is a movie version of A Streetcar Named Desire. And it kind of has that vibe. Like, it feels like it mixes highbrow and lowbrow, and there's like straw swaying and wheat
Cobra
swaying.
in my hand. Yeah, it's so like, I'm a seaweed.
The plucky guitar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I said. Like, I said, it feels car seat headrest, yet at the same time, that plucky, pleasant countryness of it, the twang, is the Jimmy Buffett part of it.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
It's a crazy mix to tap into. And that being said, Cobra is just Bob Dylan in that sweet spot between alternative folk and rock.
I wrote Bob Dylan so many times in my notes. But correct. Should we move on to husbands?
Happy to.
All right, so speaking of painting the picture, what my first note on Husbands is that the chorus is a porch cigarette. Like, the chorus is a porch cigarette. Will it wash your hair clean when your husbands all die? Like, it's just, and the way it's like, like the beat is just like, I'm like, it is the most easy listening to me. It's like the drums are so clean, so steady. It's almost hypnotic, which I feel like the driving drums are like such a core part of this album instrumentally. And like, really, for an album that's kind of weird and very odd, it's like a consistency that like grounds you almost. And I really felt it in this song. The second chorus, when it comes in with the intense, like double tracked vocals, I'm like, I'm high. Like, I'm high right now. It was so visceral. And weirdly, I wrote down that I got a little bit of a Mick Jagger Sticky Fingers vibe from the vocals, which is cool. But it does run a little bit too long, this song, I think.
For my husband's thoughts, in all seriousness, I think that Black genres, blues, country, rock, were heavy influences on this record. And this track feels like the heart and soul of that for me. The syncopations are textbook. The quality of the lead vocal, the depth of where it sits, and as this was the coolest thing. And this reminds me of Lux, the Rosalia album. Remember how listening to that, her vocal flips back and forth?
Yeah.
So I felt that here, where there's even within an individual phrase, like one lyric line, there's an up, down sort of structure, or high, low. The lyric, "Oh, my loneliness is gone," down, or like that goes down at gone, and it goes up for like the lone portion as well as the O in a really nice way. It moves across your ear in a very unsuspecting way as well. And I thought that was really impressive. Something about this song also felt really reverential. I think it's the repeated like choral segment, which again also felt very derivative of Black genre and Black music, which I also think that the octave jumps do the same sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm like thinking about just the idea of like a crooner singing, and it's that sort of move constantly. I will say this, I didn't feel like I could live with this song easily, meaning it doesn't breathe to me. It doesn't sound like something that I want to live my life to the tune of, which is again my difficulty, but I still really respect what it's accomplishing, in the same way I would performance or visual art, where it's not something that I am going to think about or take with me every day, but I appreciate it as a standalone instance. And that's true of Husbands. That's not true of other tracks on this album. I'm a big album girl, so it's tough for me when I don't love 80 or 90% of the tracks on the album, which, hey, I think by the end of my time listening to this, I got close. But for me, I'm going to have to take singles to live with and listen to because I can't do the full album here. And unfortunately, Husbands is not one that I'm adding to my playlists.
That's fair. I feel the same way about like I love an album. So I love when I love all parts of an album. It's the most satisfying thing when you find an album that you like really click with almost every function of the album. But the next 3 songs, I think, for me were the weakest in my ability to like build a, not even just like a narrative, but an overarching story around like what this album is sonically, lyrically, whatever. Like the Getting Killed, Islands of Man, and 100 Horses, both or all 3 of those just didn't tickle my brain in the same way as every other single song on this album. But
I really disliked Getting Killed. Islands of Men, I thought was the best of the 3. And then 100 Horses, I also thought was so blah, so whatever. But yeah. Getting Killed felt like it was cleaner rock there, which was a little flat in the opening to me, to be honest, especially as the last 2 were so art forward.
I'm interrupting you to say, I felt like this was so in Rainbows in the way that it to me sounded very like almost like scattered intentionally, like notes feel like they're maybe out of line, but in a intentional way. And I don't know, it feels like it dances around my ears in a way that reminds me of In Rainbows and broader Radiohead, which I felt like multiple times through this album I was getting a Radiohead energy transmission into my brain.
That's
interesting. Yeah, continue.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you because...
No, I interrupted you first.
That's interesting because I've heard that comparison thrown around a lot in online discourse about this album. And as a fan of Radiohead, I didn't really hear it that much. Like, I didn't really... but I feel like my descriptions of and my associations with music, even if they're based on a foundation of the instrumentation and the actual like composition of it, is so tied to sensation and feeling that, and just like image, feeling, all of those secondary things that piece of music evokes within me, I'm trying to group them categorically based on that criteria, which is maybe why it's not clicking for me.
I know what you mean. And I think like because we both aren't like, we don't know music theory. Like we both are just like all we know about music is through intensely listening to it and not like learning about it in like a academic way literally at all. So for me, I'm always kind of like anxious to be like, oh, this sounds like that, if it just completely, to people who know music theory, does not sound like that actually at all. But so we're having a bit of an...
you just gotta do it.
I mean, that's like, if I'm gonna have this podcast with you and we're both not trained in music theory, we have to like...
You gotta
come off for it. Like, I just trust me. My ears say it's this, so like you can't. It's all subjective. You can't tell me it doesn't sound like that. But I'm trying my best.
Girl, same. But I actually made one note. I don't remember exactly which song it was, but my notes will get me there once we get to the track. I made a note being like, I guess I hear the Radiohead here, but I don't really hear it anywhere else. I think what I should have written is, I guess I hear the Radiohead here. I don't feel it anywhere else. Whatever. Moving on. We got screaming. It's messy. It's overwhelming. We have car seat headrest vocals. So that's cool. And I was interested in that. But I wish that the chunk of the music that was messy and overwhelming to me, which it's just clashy, like it's just instrument over instrument. I wish that were omitted because the part that follows feels great. I started with okay. It goes from okay to great. It felt like it was that easy listening, again, mentioning Jimmy Buffett, yacht rock vibe, and the airiest, most open percussion I think I've ever heard, and an indie guitar hook. Yum. The song, to me, effectively kills itself and gets better as a result.
Getting killed, am I right?
Exactly. That's why I wrote it. But it builds, it has a death, and it has a betterment structure after that. And then the final lyric being gets killed by a pretty good life kind of was the cherry on top to those ideas.
I'm with you. I honestly, like, I share all of that sentiment. Like, that was kind of not what I had written down, but a similar mental takeaway for me. Cool. But Islands of Men, the next track.
Will you stop running away from what is...
I noted guitar tone to me sounded a little Grace by Jeff Buckley-y, which was cool.
I said it too.
Wait, you said that?
Christy in particular.
Wait, oh my goodness, I love this.
I know, it's awesome.
But it felt like lyrically like a self-lecture. Like he's not talking about like he's not using the words that would suggest that he's talking about himself, but it really does feel like it's like you are lecturing yourself through like oh, I'm asking for a friend kind of thing. And it's just like feels like a very like, girl, stop fucking running away. Like, just be like, stop. But the jingling outro, delish. The vocals are kind of buried in the outro, which I thought was really cool because his voice is so powerful. When you like intentionally mix the vocals down so much, it's like, it's just an interesting, like, he sounds loud but quiet, and it's, I don't know, it was cool. I wasn't like in love with this song, but I thought it was overall just cool.
Agreed. And it was the best of the 3 weak links. I'm going to say, well, no, Husbands isn't a weak link. It's just not my favorite. But these 3 are the weak links, this section of the album. Which is why I honestly wish, if it were up to me, if I were Cameron Winter, I would have made a legendary EP.
Well, if you were Geese.
Oh, well, yeah. The other ones, whatever the fuck their names are. But yeah, I would have made a super cool EP that 100 years from now is going to be in that Apple Music, like 100 best albums of all time.
Yeah, that's fair. I think,
That's what I would have made.
It could have lost 2 tracks.
Someone with no music experience whatsoever. That's what I would have done.
So that's actually what the professionals would have done. So I don't know, but...
I don't know about you, Cameron Winter, but just because I got my PhD in music...
And that song's fucking shit, so we hated it.
It's an EP now. Scrap it.
Next track, 100 Horses.
Son, you were born to die scared. So you said one.
This one felt like a Bob Dylan narrative. Like, we got a weird, like, wartime advice in a slightly relatable to people who are very far removed from the subject matter being discussed. It felt like very, like, preachy wisdom. I loved how my favorite thing about this was the line, all people must go dancing, right after all people must die nervous. I don't know what it is about that like juxtaposition that like really resonated with me, but also the way he talks about then like after it's like all horses must go dancing, like equating horses with people. And I don't know, also like going back to like Cobra, I love the way that he intertwines like nature and animals with humans in like a very like idealistic, we cohabitate in this world together. And
Cameron Winter, singular, deserves to be sponsored by PETA is what I'm hearing.
I think that is true. And not only that, but I think that they could use him in a campaign or two.
Period.
Like, like getting killed, not animals.
Period. Oh my God. Wait.
Staying alive. Geese album 3.
That'd be a predictable choice.
Yeah.
Album name. I feel like after that, because that's so Ed Sheeran, the way he's
like more.
Warning Geese not to become Ed Sheeran.
They were close. You know what I will say the album that I thought most sounded like getting killed by geese is Divide by Ed Sheeran. But alas, the guitars growling, the harmonies as the vocals enter, awesome. Everything else, sonically, I'm like, eh. I think the lyrics of this song were more interesting to me than how it sounded.
Agreed. I said that so many tracks on this album felt so visceral. This is a very visceral sounding song to me. It is a car commercial. I don't like car commercial music. It's just boring to me. And then Cameron Winter threatens to scream again, but doesn't quite
threatens to. Yes, he threatens to do it. Like, I got nervous. I thought we were going to get killed again.
Literally. He threatens to do that shit, and all of a sudden, I'm nervous, and I am thinking to myself, I need to turn it off and walk away. Like, if he would have actually connected and gone through with the scream, I think that's when I would have stopped listening, which would be a shame because the next track is my favorite.
You should be ashamed. Girl, you should be Shame's only daughter.
Girl, who says I'm not? Half Real is the best song on this album.
Girl, I had not listened to this until I reviewed it or was writing my notes on it.
Correct. It's something beautiful. I honestly think that this is nearly a perfect track to me.
It is. To me.
Follow it, with my lack of music credential.
To me.
This is
objectively perfect.
10 out of 10. Objectively a perfect song. Also on this one, welcome back, Jeff Buckley, as well. Lyrics aside, this is a song injected with emotion, and it's vocal power. It's also just instrumentation. I'm thankful that there was piano that to me felt like it led halfway through the album finally, because I hadn't heard that instrument really shine. And in across an album or midway through an album that is so rich with instrument difference of instruments, and even different horns used. Sometimes it's trombone, sometimes it's a saxophone. It's just, there's so much variety.
And but just to jump in on that, what's interesting to me is that most recently, I think what people have been paying attention to Cameron Winter wise was his performance at Carnegie Hall, where it was just him and a piano. Because also his solo work, and even Opay's, I don't know, it feels like he's just itching to burst into a ballad, but it doesn't get there for a lot of the songs on this album, just by nature of how abstract the instrumentation is. It couldn't be a ballad if you're trying to keep up with I don't know what everything else is doing, but this song, piano wise, got ballady.
That was my next point on this, is there's a ballad vocal cry at the end of this song. And I don't know if this is blasphemy, but I wish every Bob Dylan song felt like the way that end of that song felt like. And to end it with such a harsh stop was just genius.
Crazy. So good. Oh, your mind, Mr. The Geese.
To have that harsh stop after these pleading but still gritty vocals, and that tambourine. Girl.
Okay, the hums and ums that build into the O's that build right before the outro verse, I actually was I was vibrating. But lyrically, this song low-key ruined my life. But the concept of the memory of a past love being so debilitating that you have half a mind to get a lobotomy to remove both the good and the bad, because it's that excruciating. But also to be so damaged by it that you are so passively like, I have half a mind to do this, like why not? Like, it's so like he's just resigned to the pain of this loss that it's like, just do it. Just do it. And
It's
wow.
It's that same feeling that I distilled when talking about that coming of age movie thing. Like, it's just, there's in the pit of your stomach while you listen to that, you or decipher the lyrics, you feel a mix of anxiety but also all-knowingness. You feel so dual. It's really cool. This is an album of dualities, multiplicities across the board.
And I find so much comfort when it feels like an album that's built on a lot of duality, and I find comfort in his earnestness, because it's a through line throughout the whole album is the way he pours his train of thought in a way that it feels like his mind is simultaneously elsewhere, and he could have said 10 more other bizarre sentences that would have done the same job, but that's what came out. And it's very like, I'm not explaining what I just said. I just said it though, in the most relatable way, that like as a songwriter and as somebody who's just has words to say, like I'm like, wow, the Bob Dylan of it all. Like I am struck by it, and I think I probably didn't say this in the last episode because it wasn't relevant, but like we need to like build the foundation of like your understanding of our music taste and like what is our thing. Ooh, we should do an episode that's like not a review where we just kind of like break down what we're into.
Let's do it.
But
yeah, I think that's wise.
I am the most annoying Bob Dylan dick rider. I literally like that's my uncle. Like we're on the same page, and Cameron Winter feels like a Bob Dylan son. So I'm here.
I would just like to note that you called him somebody that you would want to ride his dick and then followed it directly with "that's my uncle."
Nobody's getting fucked. No uncles, no dicks being ridden. I like it's not gonna happen.
Except for every year when you swipe your straight person card.
I don't claim that anymore. That card got declined. That card just got declined, I found out. So the next song was my first impression of Geese, other than the first time I heard Taxes and didn't care. Opays Do Cocaine.
Baby, you can change and still choose me. Like you said.
This song is like, feels like NyQuil. It's like it's so desperate. It is like one of the most desperate songs I've ever heard. It's extremely desperate.
Desperate people, Cameron Winter is looking for you. Also, PETA, Cameron Winter is looking for you.
And you might get a check, because girl, like that SNL check's not gonna cover the rest of this shit, especially if you have to go vegan now. Like, he can make the cobras dance. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know what else we gotta say.
100 horses? He's like literally just promoting procreation between animals. Like that's fine with me. That's my goat. Goat. Maybe maybe he has goats on his farm. I don't know. Can I just say something really quick?
Uh-huh.
You can stay with me and just pretend I'm not there. You can change. 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 Baby, you can change and still choose me. You can change and still choose me. Wow. It was very, the first time I heard this song, I was like, wow. And then the 10th time I heard this song, I died.
Getting killed.
I got killed by this song. The way the piano builds with his vocals is so like it's just like it's so consuming in my ears, and everything about it is it's balanced in a very like messy way, which feels like I'm contradicting myself, but it just is. Like it just is. I'm all right. Best Cameron Winter impression, go.
And then I just start making the Cobras dance.
Yeah.
Like all of them swaying. So you're going to hate me for what I have to say. The first thing, though, that you're not going to hate me about is I think this got messy right. I think you're right about that. The whole time I've been complaining about messy this, messy that, it sucks. It's overwhelming. This is not overwhelming, which is where your word balance makes 100% sense. Otherwise, I believe that Half Real is so magical that it makes this one pale in comparison for me. Those which flanked it felt less special by comparison. I think I felt bored by 100 Horses, but I think there's a world I could have liked it. It's not my favorite song, but like I could have been like, oh, I'll add this to my playlist, but there's no fucking way. And I don't know. One thing I will praise is the outro of this track. That's what I'm saying. It got the messy right, and that's the part of it that I enjoyed most. But when all that I enjoy about a track, or not all, but when 90% of what I enjoy about a track happens in the last 30 seconds, I don't think I can speak positively on that. The anchoring keys, though, and the resounding bass and the percussive build really worked.
Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what he's saying when he says, like a sailor in a big green boat, like a sailor in a big green coat.
I thought that
Dr. Seuss
ass thing was delicious. Like, I enjoyed it.
Oh, I like it.
But here's the thing, is there was another sailor reference somewhere.
Yeah, in the next song.
In Bow Down that I am obsessed with.
Yeah.
So when I hear Cameron Winter and sailor in the same sentence, I feel like I'm already clouded with a positive reaction toward that. That does not make your lighting look better.
No, it just fell. So I was just trying to fix it so it didn't fall on top of me.
And I'm being such an asshole. I'm like, you look.
It doesn't make your lighting look better. Oh, sorry. Do you want it on the ground?
Meanwhile, you have a mic. Like, you look like you're taking this way more seriously than I do.
Well,
you have like a fucking ring light, it looks like.
No, it's just the only lamp I have in my room. Like,
Eliza pulled up with a ring light for this one. It's a cute lamp.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah, I like it. Bow Down.
Bow Down.
And here we have the Strokes.
I was in love and now I'm in hell with Maria's bones.
I was a sailor and now I'm a boat is practically a Julian Casablancas impression.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And a good one. And the lyrical sentiment, like, of that whole part, like I said, resonates as well. For me, the feeling of that line and what follows, maybe this is it is a projection. It feels like what being a student for my whole life and then having to actively utilize what I know in concept, but like in actuality, in order to stay afloat in the real world. That is to me exactly what that means. Now, I don't think that's what he was saying, but it delivers the same sort of feeling to the listener as what you were discussing regarding feeling like an album in its whole right resonates with you, to feel something that's a line that is so vague yet hits you so hard and so personally in such a hyper specific reality.
Yeah.
Is super impressive.
It has to be like a stroke of magic. The Strokes. It has to be like a stroke of magic kind of thing where it's like, because an album makes so much sense in every regard, then the lyrics, no matter how abstract they may be, just fall into place in your brain of like what they should mean to you. I think that's one of the most fun things about music being so subjective, is just that it, like, I don't give a shit about why Cameron Winter wrote the lyrics that he wrote. Like, it's what they mean to me is what they mean to me. I can't be inside of his brain. And he says a lot without saying too much, which is so universally emotionally evocative that it really fucking does the job. I was in love and now I'm in hell.
For me, the lyrics that felt most like freedom and fear in a way that I feel like marked the whole song for me in an equal sort of manner were, with an angel down my throat, she said, you don't know what it's like to bow down, down, down to Maria's dead bones. I was in love. I was in love. I was in love. And now I'm in hell. Fuck.
It's so Bob Dylan. I'm sorry. It just is. In a really fucking perfect way. So I like keep them coming. Keep them coming. I want Bob Dylan to spread his seed permanently.
This was my favorite track lyrically across the whole album, but it's not just a lyrically strong track. It's also something that has such interesting instrumentation, and that also feels strokey. The short, sharp, da-da-da-da bass line in particular, it's something, to me, it felt so Come Down Machine, and I was like, this is something I've heard so many times before that I anticipate that it's about to explode, and it starts to get higher and tighter, and I suspect I'm right, and then I am, and it's bliss. And
you get a synthy breakdown. Like it's awesome. I love the way that this song transforms by the end. I think it's so like what you said, like you're kind of, maybe you get to a point where you anticipate it, but I didn't anticipate that it would sound exactly the way that it did at all. And it really tickled my ears. Taxes.
You're gonna have to nail me down.
Clean, simple. Yes, sorry, taxes. It's just clean, simple satisfaction.
The ooze, the loose drumming in the beginning, it starts with this like open percussion with, it's like West African drums, I would assume, just like from the way that they sound. And it like gently, very like gently builds, and it kind of is like, ooh, like it's just very, it's like a very sweet song until it just hits you with the, if you want me to pay my taxes, you better come over with a crucifix, you're gonna have to nail me down. It feels like it's like, I'm going to remove myself from the duties of being a socialized human in the 21st century. Like I'm being asked just by nature of being a person to do X, Y, and Z. Like, can I not just fucking exist, period? It's very relatable to me, and I thought it was so fucking beautiful as a piece of music and as lyrics and as a whole, and it's so special to me already as a song, and I'm just really happy that it exists.
That felt spiritual.
This fucking song felt spiritual for me.
Starting out my description of this song as it being plain, simple, clean satisfaction is true of the first portion of this song. And then when the melody shifts, which I thought was interesting that in this song and across this album a couple of times, with the mention of death comes a sonic rebirth, like very quickly afterward. So right after the you'd better come with a crucifix and then you're gonna have to nail me down, there's an ecstasy with that new melody as it releases. It
explodes, yeah.
But I think although it's not clean and simple, it does still wash over you with a satisfaction that, like I said, is ecstasy.
Yes.
And there's a reference while listening to this song. Every time there's a reference I would like to name here, but I can't quite find it.
For me, it's a little bit OK computery.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm
hearing.
It's
the chiming guitars. But that's kind of like a throughout the album, I guess. But like, I think the waltzing ooze give me like a little bit of a Tom York, but like, you're gonna have to nail me down into that, like, gave me very let down, like when it kind of builds right before the final, like,
True.
you know, like that, those would fit together in a, like, they could be cousins.
So maybe that's where my Radiohead thing is coming back, and I'm just like ignoring it and turning a blind eye. I don't know. Anyway, I thought this could have been an easy choice for a closing track, and I, at the point of listening to it for the first time, second time, third time, felt very intrigued that it was not.
Yeah,
And
I kind of agree.
That gets me really excited for Long Island City, Here I Come.
But he too shall see Long Island City eventually.
My words for this track are progressive, anxious, submitting, and rebellious, and I like the beginning portion so much, and then it goes on too long, which I said beforehand, but I got bored, and I was sitting there counting down the time until it was over, which is, after an album like this, it felt disrespectful for me to be feeling that way. Like,
I kind of had the same experience where I was like, all right, like, whew. Like, now can this be over so I can think about the ones that actually rewired my brain chemistry? Which is like low-key how I feel about OK Computer. Like, the weaker songs on OK Computer, I'm kind of just like, ugh, oh brother, like, come on. Which is like,
totally.
This is, as somebody, both of us collect vinyl, when you're listening to an album on vinyl and there's just kind of like an album cut there that you're like it's just, it goes on a little too long, and all I wish I could do is just skip to the next one. But That's why we learn patience. We learn patience through physical media. Kind of insane lyrics. Like, hang me from a yo-yo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree. My most positive takeaways were the pleading and vocal cries are so back, and it's just, at least for me, like, I love a whiny little pathetic man on a track.
Oh, absolutely.
I like it. So if that's part of the deal, sign me up. And Cameron Winter delivered more than once on this album. Long Island City, Here I Come.
Yeah.
He said, let me give you a last taste before I go. And the rest of this song is going to be too long, but you're still going to hear about how I whine for you. For me, this was a real contender. Despite the fact that the instrumentation got boring quickly, this was a real contender for best lyrics on the album. It wasn't, but like my number one, but it was a real contender. I love that we get American Pie on it at some point. Yeah, you were there you were there the day the music died, and I'll be there the day it dies again, period. I
love that. I fucking love that.
I thought that was so cool. And at the halfway point of it, there was like a strokiness that came about. But unfortunately, that was where I zoned out a little bit.
Fair.
It was cool in construction, though, which was nice until the end, where it just blended into the same nothingness. But it was super impressive in its lyrics. And yeah. I liked it a lot the first few times I listened to it. And then it kind of has become a song that I'm like, okay, it gets to a point. Agreed.
I really thought it was a little magical the first few times, and then it kind of died on me.
I had the same exact experience, and for an album that's a grower, why would your closing track be a dyer?
I know, especially when it could have.
It got killed.
Whoa. But
both the flanks of the album, Cameron Winter was like, let me see who the real fans are. Because he made the worst tracks, like the start and the end. They have the shortest life.
We're gonna bookend really good shit. And the 3-track run in the middle that I was kind of like, it's like he's like, no, I am actually hiding these on here. Like, I'm hiding gems. You're gonna have to hunt. You're gonna have to nail me down, but you're gonna have to hunt for them. And it was worth it. Oh my God, it was worth it. I am so fucking glad that we forced ourselves to get past whatever the fucking first song of this album was. And I'm in love with it. I'm like literally in love with it. I could not be more excited to continue listening to it for a long time.
I'm excited too, and I think that's a cool thing, because I don't know that I would be continuing to try and live with it, or try and live with the pieces of it that I think are worthwhile, had we not been doing this podcast, which is cool to see the way that really hyper-focused intentional listening changes your experience and maybe amplifies your appreciation. Maybe there's a level, I feel like we've gotten into kind of a lot of existential questions in this episode and discussion, and maybe there's more of that to just say that it's interesting that inserting yourself in something in a very diligent way makes your appreciation for it grow more. But I guess that's just natural human conceit or narcissism.
But it's also because you and I are both appreciators of art versus artists ourselves. So I think when you look at something or listen to something, watch something, the most natural way to try to find meaning in it is to connect it to the ways that you find meaning in your own life. I think one thing about this album that's so effective is how universal it. I mean, obviously, like, I can only listen to it in my brain, but like I would assume that like lyrically, it's hard not to relate to a lot of this.
That's my exact point from before, where it's a skill, a true skill, and an impressive skill at that, to be able to make music that is so vague but so hyper specific in the way that it relates to one another. That's what Taylor Swift thinks she's doing,
and it's really not there.
No, that's what basic people buy into about Taylor Swift. Like, I feel like every conversation I've ever had with somebody who's a big fan is always just getting shadow banned because I'm talking shit about Taylor Swift on my music podcast.
Send the army.
My takeaways of this, I already started to say them, but I would have made it an EP that's legendary. I think that the second half is a lot stronger than the top half, and then that middle run is junk.
Junk?
It's not junk, but it's aggressively mediocre to me for something that's not aggressively mediocre as a whole.
I wouldn't, in my mind, they're not aggressively mediocre. I think it's just like comparatively, it's like you're listening to, like, at least in my brain, I'm listening to tracks that are like so good. I'm like actually like my jaw's like 2 inches further than its usual position. But like, it's just like the ones that are just fine to me. Like, I don't think that they're mediocre.
I think,
but so I don't think that. But you can.
I think. Thank you for your permission.
No problem.
What I would do without it. I think that I feel and think so black and white that if something, when there's so much, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strokes of genius across this album, which, hey, that's more than I can ask for and be satisfied with. But when that's what you're capable of producing, my expectation for you jumps from here to here. And if you willingly made the decision to include fat that you could have trimmed, that's junk.
Yeah, fatty. Cameron Winter, you fatty. Trim your junk.
I'm excited. You enjoy Cameron Winter's solo work. I am excited to dive into that as well.
Yeah, Heavy Metal, his like solo EP or his solo album that he released, is, I believe, pretty influential on this album.
Cool. I've listened. I like the irony of the title, first off, but I also, shall we? I mean, I think just to end this, there were moments that I thought I couldn't do it, and there were moments that I thought I could never do without again once I've listened to them.
Yeah.
So for me, I think in my head, there's a rating that I feel I should give this, but I can't do that because it's not
high enough.
No, because it's
too high for how much you disliked. Yeah. Anyway, tell me your rating.
I feel like I should give it an 8.5, but I want to give it 6.5 ducks before I pat your head and name you Goose.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think based off of everything that I said and like my critiques, it would make sense if I gave it like a 7.5, but I'm not. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm giving it 9 counts of tax evasion out of 10. So I don't, you can't, you just, there's no challenging it. 9 counts of tax evasion out of 10. That's a wrap from me.
Frat boy flick. Need to frat boy flick with Cameron Winter.
Next week we are reacting to John Summit and Fred again. Guys, we're so good. We're like really good at this.
Guys, second podcast in and I'm feeling like number 1, a professional podcaster. Number 2, a professional musician, Charlie Puth. And I get to make the decisions for Cameron Winter now.
Yeah. Suddenly I have perfect pitch and I'm a fucking virtuoso. I like, it's unbelievable the amount of technical music understanding that I have. We'll see you guys really soon. That's the only promise I can give.
My crush.
Yeah, we're reviewing Adéla.
We're reviewing. The album is called The Provocateur.
So this is like a book club. You better listen because we're telling you now. So listen, and then we can follow along together.
Yeah, and then you can disagree with us or agree with us, and it feels like, oh my God, this is a perfect meta little moment. Then you can talk back to us, and you'll be more interested in us because you'll have a stake in it.
Exactly. So when you think about it, like, you have to. When you
think about it, you've now enrolled into a class. This is like a college seminar, and you better come with your homework done.
And we're charging you $50 a month to listen. Okay, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.